I don't want to blame the GPs because it's a hard job, but I think sometimes you need to push and scream and shout. My name's Pete Blackman, I'm 54, live in Portsmouth, worked in IT most of my career, married with a 12-year-old daughter, hobbies, photography, football fan of Portsmouth FC, Pompey. I was diagnosed in July 2018. I think about February, March time, went to the doctors with what I thought was a chest infection. I was given antibiotics, didn't really get better, went back, given more antibiotics, didn't get better, went back, had an x-ray. The x-ray came back and I was told it was okay, but possibly pneumonia. I was given a third lot of antibiotics. Went back again, not getting better. And I was basically told pneumonia takes 2-3 months to clear up, just rest and take it easy. Then later on, after a few months of the pneumonia, I started feeling a lot more breathless. I worked on the second floor at my office and I was really struggling to get up those stairs, even getting a lift, which I remember thinking, oh, this is embarrassing, I'm 50, I can't go up some stairs. After about 2.5 months, 3 months possibly, I went back for the follow-up x-ray at a local drop-in centre, and they ummed and ahed and said, right, I think you need to go to A&E. Went to A&E. It was a day of the World Cup semi-final, actually. I always remember that. The next day, I was told it's 90% certain it was lung cancer. Had some fluid taken, and just over a week later, I was confirmed it was stage 4 lung cancer. And I've not got a solid tumour. My lung was full of fluid, so it was a malignant pleural effusion. So there's no solid tumour there, but it's cancerous fluid between the lung and the lining, which is possibly why it wasn't picked up on the x-ray, because they could see the fluid and they assumed it was pneumonia. They took a sample of my fluid to test it, and it came back stage 4. And I knew I'd be tested for a mutation, and I knew that was important. I was told if I got a mutation, it could be good news, relatively good news. And that half went in, but as I just said, it was, it's a tiny bit of good news in the whole scheme of things. As it turned out, it was pretty good news. And the biopsy, which is very strange, because you've got a local anaesthetic and they're in there fiddling and snipping bits of your lung, and you can feel it, and it's like, oh. But they did get enough tissue to do the biopsy on. And they called me back, I'm going to say within a couple of weeks, but the timeline's so vague. And they said, okay, you've got the EGFR mutation, you can take this tablet, afatinib, I think they said. So I went to see the consultant and he talked me through the side effects and what this tablet was about. But he did say, okay, if there is a new tablet, a relatively new tablet out called osimertinib Tagrisso. I know I'm lucky that I'm here 4 years later. But I do get people to say, oh, you've done brilliant, as if that's, I want to be here another 4 years or 2 years or whatever. And I don't blame anyone, it's just what people say. So I know I'm lucky to be here 4 years later. And huge cliche, but it is literally one day at a time, which at first I struggled with, but so 4 years I've learned some coping strategies and going one day at a time and see what happens. I did quite a few things. I bought a PlayStation. I've never been a particularly big gaming person, but it did help, especially if I was at home on my own. Your mind would wander, which is not ideal. I put the PlayStation on, and next thing I'm shouting at Ronaldo for missing a goal or something. And it did help. I read, but at first I struggled to get into books because, again, your mind would wander. I did a lot of meditation. I've got a few apps on the phone. That was all around my breathing and anxiety and trying to calm that down. So I did a lot of that. And I'm lucky that we live by the sea, so I've spent many an hour walking up and down the seafront. We've got a little dog as well, so take her out, headphones on, dog, So my daughter keeps me busy. She horse rides, plays football, there's school stuff. So I tried to keep as busy as I could, but obviously wasn't as fit as I could. So I did spend a lot of time at home, but then I'd try and immerse myself in the PlayStation or films or the meditation. It was just a case of not overthinking stuff, because all the time I overthought stuff, it was traumatic, I guess. It was, there's a few times I woke up in the middle of the night and it was like, particularly scary, but I think the meditation and stuff, many times I put the headphones on at 2 o'clock in the morning just to calm myself, and it makes you think about other stuff, and it's do a lot of breathing through the nose and mouth and stuff. The PlayStation felt like a 16-year-old again, but it worked for me. If I got a good game and I was getting eaten by dragons, it was better than thinking about lung cancer. I did mention asbestosis because my dad worked in Portsmouth Dockyard, and lots of asbestosis in the 70s and 80s, and I didn't know you could get that secondary via clothing in washing baskets and whatnot. I do think my diagnosis was delayed because I went back, I don't know how many times, but enough for 3 lots of antibiotics and X-ray, and I'll come back and I remember being told it's pneumonia. That takes 3 months. Basically, don't bother us for 3 months because you've got to rest and drink lots of fluids. And that's when I started getting worse. I started losing weight and the breathing was getting worse and worse. And you sort of want to trust, but I now know that GPs don't know everything and it's not their fault. If I'd been a smoker, I think that would have been near the top of their list of things to check. But I'm not, I never have been. If one person can see this and not go through what I went through, it's more than worth it. I don't like being in front of the camera whatsoever, let alone a video camera. But if one person sees this and thinks, and I think with this sort of campaign, the more varied type people you see, the more others can relate. Oh, there's a 50-year-old bloke who's never a smoker. There might be another 50-year-old bloke who's never a smoker out there who started my journey and hopefully can avoid where my journey went because they saw this. And I very much tell as many people as I can. It's spreading that message that anyone can get lung cancer. The more medical profession can know about it, hopefully the less people will get diagnosed at stage 4.